Hey, hi Suma. So Suma, in this video, we are going to talk about the output parameter in a store procedure. Okay, so if you remember in the previous sessions, we discussed about the input parameter for your store procedure. Okay, so we'll understand this in detail first. Okay, what is the scenario, what is the real-time scenario, and when we need that output parameter requirement. Okay, and along with that, we'll brush up some again on the input parameter as well. Okay, so you not need to worry on that part. Okay, so we'll understand this with one real-time scenario. We already used that example so many times, but might be you never catch that the problem or that situations that we'll talk. Okay, so let me go here. Okay. Okay, okay, I have the Excel sheet. Okay, let me open that Excel sheet. And do you remember that scenario that we always take as a real-time example, that Amazon customer, that customer table and the order, right? Huh.
Yeah.
So let's say this is my customer table. Okay, customer table, and this is my order table, right? So we always give here the customer ID, right? And then customer name here. Okay, and other details. And then in the order tables, what we giving? Order details, ID, and here we are giving the reference of that customer ID, right? For which customer this order is, right? So we are giving the reference of this. This is my foreign key, right? And this is referring to my primary key, right?
Yeah.
So this is how we are giving, right? But have you ever imagined that, I want to, let's say, there are thousands of customers, right? Okay, on already on Amazon. So let's say already millions of customers, all already there, okay? And all these customers, let's say X, Y, Z is already there, okay? And imagine today you're logging to Amazon as a new customer, right? And you want to order something, but first important thing is that you have to register first, right, in order to order something, right? So let's say you are registering here for customer today. So you went to Amazon websites and you register for the first time today, let's say, and there is already these are the customers already available. Okay, now let's say I register for Suma here, right? Okay, and now this is what will be your customer ID. Copy, paste, right? There will be one. This is your customer ID, right? But until you register yourself, you don't know your customer ID, right? So even when the customer logging, customer never think about the customer ID, right? So because it's a technical things. Okay, it is, we are thinking from the database point of view, how to handle that relations, how to handle that IDs in customer and order tables. Okay, so just think from the both the sides, as a customer, as an end user customer, and at the same time just imagine how internally and technically this is going to be handled. Okay, right? So far how we did this here, let's say Suma registered on this customer table. Now Suma is here and this is the Suma's customer ID, right? So I'll copy this here and I will paste here, right? Like this I'm doing. This is the order detail. Let's say what would be the product ID, let's say product name I'm adding here. So let's say Suma ordered iPhone today. Okay, so like this. So this is how this customer ID we're adding manually right now, right? Just to take a reference, because I know this is the customer ID. I'm inserting into the customer table, and whatever the customer ID is generating, I'm just copy paste this customer ID here. Let's say tomorrow Kiran registered. I'm just passing this customer ID here, right?
Yeah.
Two, and then I'm registered for Kiran, let's say. So I'm passing this customer ID here manually, right?
Yeah.
Just for understanding purpose. But have you ever think about how this is going to be handled internally in the application? No, right?
No.
Yeah, so this is where our the interesting part come into the focus. Okay, that is output parameters. So output parameters, what happens, let's say you insert, let's say new customer come today, that customers. Okay, so and we don't know, as a let's say as a database developer, you don't know that ID, what would be the new ID for that customer, right? So let's say tomorrow ABC customer joined. right?
Yeah.
So
Mm.
this ID will be generated, new ID will be new and unique ID will be generated for that customer, correct?
Yeah.
Right? So that customer, so I want, once I insert into the customer table, I want that customer ID, right?
Mm.
Runtimes, I want runtimes, I want dynamically that
Mm.
customer ID. Okay. And then I will store this customer ID in one variable. Okay, customer ID, let's say,
Mm.
and then I will use this customer ID here to add
Get
order
all the
for,
details.
yeah,
Yeah.
so for that order. So we are going to understand this scenario practically in SQL, how to understand this, how new customer is added, what is the customer ID related to that customer. We'll pick up that customer
Mm.
ID dynamically, and will use that customer ID here to put the orders.
Oh.
So
Mm.
did you get the scenario and situations when we need this? What is the requirement? What is the problem? And where we are using this on high level functional side?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Got it. Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
don't worry about the technical side, just functional
Yeah. Yeah.
sides, right? So
Mm.
whenever we have to learn any concept, first we have to understand the problem functionally in the real
Mm.
times.
Mm.
Technically, it's easy. You can solve this in multiple ways. That's not a problem.
Mm.
Okay. So we have to understand first problem. What is the problem? And then we'll try to solve that. Okay. So let's
Mm.
say this is my customer table and this is my order detail tables. Okay. So
Mm.
if you remember identity column, one means it
Yeah.
will start with one and it will
Mm.
grow with one every for every
Mm.
single record. So
Mm.
just to create a real-time scenario, okay, let's say I'm saying that already there is thousands of customers already available. Okay,
Mm.
let's say thousands or maybe 10,000 customers already available there. Okay,
Mm.
and so we'll start with this. Okay, let's say order, maybe I will take some random number. Okay, these are the orders already placed there. Okay, so it will
Mm.
start with this order and this will add new entry here. Okay,
Mm.
now let me execute this. What happened?
Foreign key.
Okay, no problem. So first I have to drop this and then I have to drop this because there is a reference key, right? That's what it's saying.
Mm. Mm.
What it's saying, could not drop the customer because it is referenced by foreign key. There is already object name customer in the
Mm.
database. So what happened? I'm just trying to drop this. Could not drop the customer because it is referenced by foreign key constants. So we already dropped this table. Sorry. Okay. I
Mm.
created again. That's the problem. So
Mm.
let's say I drop. Okay. Now let me drop this. Okay.
Yeah.
Now it's working. So let's say I executed all of this. Now I will tell you, for this customer table. Okay. Let me try to insert into customer table. Okay. And let's say I'm adding values and here's I'm passing, let's say Suma, and city is, let's say, Bangalore. Okay.
Mm.
If I go here and if I insert this, after insert, what will be the value? That ID I want to store in one variable, right? And then I
Mm.
will use that ID to insert into my order details table, right? So
Yeah.
if I go and execute this, one row is inserted, right? Now select
Mm.
star from customer. What will be the ID? Any guess?
Like there it was 10,000. It will be 10,001.
Correct.
Mm.
So so what happened? It start with 10,000. Okay, no problem. So we are given this 10,000. That means it start with the
Yeah.
10,000. Okay. If we
Okay,
put,
the
if we,
starting will be
yeah, this is starting point. If by default we keep one, right? So it start with one,
yeah.
right? So
Okay.
I put 10,000. That's why it started with this number. Okay. That's fine. Okay. Good try. Even I was thinking it will be 1,001, 10,001.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good. The concept get cleared.
Mm.
No problem. Okay, so now the interesting part is here now. So I want see, now I have executed manually these things, right? So that's why I know that this is the customer ID. But in a runtimes, I don't know what will be the next customer and what will be the next
Yeah.
customer ID. So that I want.
Mm.
Okay, so that I want. So how I can pick up that? So before that, let's create one store procedures to insert this data. Okay, so
Okay. Mm.
instead of adding here, okay, we'll add this in our store procedures. Okay, this data.
Okay.
So let me copy this, go to new window. So here we will create our store procedures, create or alter procedure USP underscore insert customer. Okay, as begin end. Okay, I'm passing this here. Okay, so I want to pass this summa and first name, customer name and city as an input parameter. Okay, so I will create here variable. Let's say customer name. Okay, I'll give the data type for this. Let's say 100, and my second input parameter is my customer city. This will be again varchar 100. Okay,
Yeah.
and I will pass this variable here instead of hard
Okay.
coded. Otherwise, every time it will insert the same record. No?
Yeah.
So I will pass this customer ID here. Okay. Now
Mm.
let's see.
Mm.
Now let me create this. Okay. My SP is created. How to execute
Mm.
this SP?
Execute USP that
Correct.
insert customer.
Correct. EX is execute and the SP
Yeah.
names. If I execute this, I will get error. Why?
Yes.
Because it's expecting the input parameter.
Parameter. Yeah.
Correct. So we have to pass
Yeah.
the input parameters here. Now let's say I will pass the first as Kiran, right? The
Yeah.
standard way is that I have to mention the variable name. Customer name is equal to Kiran. Let's say customer city is equal to, let's say, Pune. Okay. Now if I execute this, okay, that one row is affected, right? So we'll create some interesting something like that. Once it is completed, we'll add one customer added successfully. This message we are giving. Okay. Let me alter this. Okay. Now if I go and let's add one more entry here, Akshay, let's say from Mumbai. And if I run this, you'll get the customer added successfully, right? This message,
Okay.
you got it, right? Now, what is the, or what we want actually when I added a new customer, Akshay, I don't know his ID column, right? It's customer ID, right? So if you can correlate this with the same with the student examples, right? When you enroll for any class or college, and when you go for any class, you don't know your roll number, right? It will come to you later once be a part of that class. The same way
Yeah.
you, when you will register on a customer on Amazon, then your customer ID will get generated. Okay, the same way you can correlate with that. Okay, so
Yeah.
now I have added this customer, but I don't get that. I didn't get the customer ID for this, because if I get the customer ID, only then I will insert into my order table. Now here is my order table, right?
Yeah.
So I want to insert here, insert into order details. But the problem is that I don't know, whenever the new customer is added, I don't know the customer ID.
ID. Yeah.
I can go directly to the database tables and then page that, but every time this will be manual work, right? So instead of that, I want some dynamic way, so that every time the new customer is added, I want that ID to be written. Okay, so now you understand this is the problem. Okay, so in
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
SP, I want a customer ID written. I want this SP should return the customer ID. Okay, so how I can get that? So the answer is very simple. So these are my input parameters, right? So I have to add output parameter. So this input parameter means what? I'm passing some input to the store procedure, right? So that you can use these input parameters and work as per the logic. Now, what I'm expecting output of the output parameter, that means I want something to be written from that store procedure. Got it? Got it?
Okay. Yeah.
So input means you are passing something to SP, store procedures, right? Output means what? You are expecting something to be written from store procedures. Make sense?
Yeah.
Correct. So what is the syntax for that? Again, this is very simple, right? So I want customer ID,
Mhm.
right? So I'm giving this as integers, but see, this is not input parameter. This is output parameter, right? So I have to
Yeah.
pass this explicitly, mention this variable is my output parameter. So I have to mention this explicitly. Okay.
Hmm.
So always remember output, you have to mention explicitly.
Hmm.
Okay. Input is by default. Input is by default. So you not need to mention this. Okay. So
Hmm.
here it is by default input. Okay.
Hmm. Yeah.
So
Got it.
you not need to pass this by default.
Hmm.
It will take as a by default. Okay. For output parameter, you have to pass this now. Okay. Now
Hmm.
what you have to do, this is my customer ID. So
Hmm.
how I can get, here's my customer ID and I'm setting the value for this customer ID. Okay.
Hmm.
Set means you are assigning the value, okay, to this variable, to this
Hmm.
customer ID. And how you can assign the value, so there is one function, sorry, scope underscore identity. Okay. So built-in function scope identity returns the numeric integers value. Okay, so this is built-in functions. Okay, you can see in a pink,
Hmm.
that means it is a system defined function. Okay, so we'll understand after store procedures concept, we'll understand the functions as well. So the same way in
Okay.
store procedures we have the system defined functions, system defined store procedures and user defined store procedures, right? So
Hmm.
this is our
Yeah.
user defined store procedure. Same way we
Yeah.
have the functions. So there are some
Hmm.
functions user defined and some are system defined. So this
Hmm.
is what system defined user function. Okay.
Okay.
And what it gives you, it will give you always the value into the identity column. Let's say I insert something here in my customer
Hmm.
table. So for this customer table, what is the identity column value that it will immediately return to me?
Hmm.
Got it?
Yeah.
So let's say select star from customer. So let's say these are my customer right now, right? Akshay is having the
Hmm.
I think 10,002, right? So now if I insert new customer, it will be 10,003, right?
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
that it will, once you insert here, it will, this scope underscore identity function will return that identity column and it will assign to this customer ID, and that
Hmm.
will be your output parameter.
Okay.
Okay, so it's assigning to
Hmm.
this. So let's try this. Okay. And mm, okay, so let me alter this SP. Okay, first create or alter. Now I altered this SP. Okay, now let's go. This is, we know that, right? 10,002 is my current
Hmm.
customer ID. Now here let's go and add someone. Okay, Sunil, and let's say Sunil is from Pune. Okay, if I
Hmm.
execute this, I want uh, the customer ID, right? So
Hmm.
so in order it will return this customer ID, right? This SP will return this customer ID, but
Yeah.
you have to save this customer ID somewhere, right? So how, where you will
Hmm.
save? So you have to declare first one variable. Okay, let's
Hmm.
say customer ID, customer ID. Uh, I will add here customer like this. Okay. So this is the variables that you have declared here. Okay, you have declared this customer variable, and now you want output of this output of this SP to save in this
Hmm.
customer ID. Okay, so here I will give the comma. Okay, again I will pass the output parameter here. This output parameter, right? This is my
Hmm.
store procedures. Okay, this is my store procedures output parameter, and this
Hmm.
is my
Yeah.
local variable. Okay, this is my local
Okay.
variable. So don't get confused with this customer ID and this customer ID. So this customer ID is my input parameter, right? And what I'm
Hmm.
saying, whatever the output of this customer ID from this store procedure, just save into this variable,
Okay.
right?
Hmm.
The same way
Okay.
in for input parameters, you are saying this is my input parameter of my store procedures and pass this value. For this input
Hmm.
parameter, pass this value. The same way for this output parameter, give me the value, right? So
Okay.
if you
Hmm.
remember here in the inputs, I said I'm passing something. In the output, I'm expecting
Hmm.
something to be returned. So for this input parameter, you are passing the value. For this input parameter, you are passing the value. But for this output parameter, you are not passing the value. You want this value to save in
Yeah.
one variable. So you are passing this customer ID here. Okay. So that's why I
Okay.
keep this different name in order to not get confused. Even if we can same name, that's
Okay.
not a problem, because it will treat this as a local variable. And for first thing, it will treat as your SP's input output parameter. Okay.
Okay.
And one more thing you have to do, you have to give, it's important that it's, you have to mention this is output parameter.
Okay.
Got it? Now,
Yeah.
I will get the value in my customer tables. So if I want to check this value, if it is getting in this variable or not, how I will check? Select this value, right,
Okay.
as my customer ID, and my job is done. Okay, so we'll call this as a newly generated newly generated customer ID. Got it?
Yeah.
So far so clear?
Yeah.
Good. Okay, now let's go and execute this, and I'm expecting for this Sunil, I should get the next value, whatever it next value. I don't know about the database. Let's say I don't know anything about this. I'm expecting it should give the next value, whatever it might be, right? So let's execute this, and interesting, right? Customer added successfully from this,
Yeah.
and this is my newly generated customer ID. Now I got this customer ID in my tables. Now I can easily use this variable here, and I'll pass here, right? So let's
Yeah.
insert into order details table. Order ID is identity column, customer ID, order amount, and order date. Okay, so let's go insert into order details values. Okay, so I don't have to pass this value, right? Customer ID I have to pass. So how I can pass this customer ID? I will copy this and I will pass here, because every time new customer ID will be there, right? So I'll pass this customer ID here. Then what I have to pass? Order amount and order date. So let's say order amount, I'm saying 2000, let's say 12,000, and order date, let's say add as a get date. So it will take today's date. Okay. So for
Yeah.
every customer, we'll add this, we'll keep this as a static 12,000 and get that, because right now we have to understand the scenario, how we are capturing this newly generated customer ID and we are passing into here. Okay.
Yeah.
Now if I go and insert here, it will not work, because the problem is that variables need to be declared. So that
Okay.
variable is here, right? So I have to add this as into the scope. So let's try for the new customer. Okay, so here
Okay.
we'll add one new customer, new more customers. Let's say Mayappa. Okay, I'm adding this from, let's say, Kolhapur. So now let's say the new customer, that's Mayappa, that is joining, that's registered on the Amazon. Okay, now he want to order something, right? So just imagine the scenario that Mayappa is registered to the Amazon websites, and he go for the order as well, as a end users. And from the technical sides, just imagine that when the Mayappa will add into the customer tables, I want his newly generated ID, and that ID should be going to the order details in order to have that relation, right? So
Yeah.
now what I'm expecting, let's say select star from customer and select star from order details. So what I'm expecting here, that first customer should be registered and the entry should go into the customer table, and then what will be the customer
Then,
ID generated, it should go here in the order details, right?
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go with this and run here, and let's see if it's adding the value or not. Okay, good, customer added successfully. This is
Yeah.
10,004 is the new numbers, and I think you can see in the message that one row is affected. I think data entry or data into the order details successfully entered. Okay, so let's go and execute here, and you can see that, right? This is the 10,004 that customer IDs came here, right?
Yeah.
So this is how the output parameter is going to be handled, okay? Actually in real time scenario, right? So
Okay.
so far we are just adding this manually for our for
Mm,
our to understanding purpose, right? But in real time scenario, this is how the relationship is maintained, okay, for everything. So let's say now
mm,
I want to add this customer into the product history or delivered whatever in 100 tables. I want to add entry for this customer tables. So how I can add this? Using this customer ID, because this scope identity will give me the current value for this record, right? And this customer ID I
mm,
can use in the any number of tables. So this is how it's going to be work. So this is how we are going to handle this situation and handle this scenario, okay?
mm.
Are you clear on this part?
It's a bit confusing, but yeah,
I
I've
totally
understood it. Yeah.
that's totally fine. That's totally fine. Don't
Yeah.
worry. There's just
Concept I could understand. Yeah.
yeah, that is very important. You have to
Yeah.
understand concept, you have to understand
Mm,
functionally. Technically you can understand anytime, okay? That's not a problem, okay? That's it.
yeah.
And even sometimes even it creates confusion for me as well, when the passing the output parameters, where to declare and
Um,
where to pass. So sometimes it happens with
mm,
me as well, okay? Because output
mm,
parameters always create a confusing, actually. This customer ID and this customer ID, sometimes it creates
mm,
confusion, what is this customer ID and what is. But if you understand functionally, it will be very easy that you are passing your this customer name, this customer city, and this customer ID is your parameters of your store procedures. And
mm,
for input parameter, you are passing the value. You are passing the value, and for output parameter, you're not passing the value. You are expecting something to be saved in local. So you are giving your parameter.
mm.
Sorry, you are giving the variable where you want to save this customer ID. So you'll understand this, because once you do the practice, you'll understand this. Okay, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Mm,
So I'm sharing with you the code as well, so that you know you can do practice on this part. But make sure to do practice first input parameters, and then try
I
for
will. Yeah. Yeah.
then try for output parameters.
Mm.
And please try to cover up this, Suma. Otherwise, if we
Yeah.
go ahead, it will be unnecessary burden for you to understand all that concept
Yeah.
and doing the practice. And
Yes.
you and on positive side, if you tried practice, now you can come up with more questions to me, and it will be helpful for
Mm.
you to understand in detail,
Yes,
in
sir.
depth. Okay.
Yeah.
uh, s- so I'm giving you all this as well. But this is the final code, okay? Just go through the recordings, understand first scenario, first insert only values, don't go for the output, okay? Then understand the problem, okay? Just
Mm.
create that scenario, and then step by step go, and then step by step add this return parameter, output parameters like this, okay? So
Mm.
you will understand this
So,
in detail, okay? So I'm
yeah.
sharing with you this code. So just you can copy paste this code from this, okay? Any questions, any doubt, Suma, to understand this?
Also, like only after practicing, I'll have some doubts. I'll ask
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
Yeah.
no problem. I totally understand. That's totally fine, because this is output parameter is bit
Mm.
challenging actually. Bit it takes time to understand, but it's okay. If you understand this
Yeah.
functionally, conceptually, it will be very easy for you to understand this. Uh, you know, uh, technically.
Yeah.
That's not a problem. Okay, let me stop this sharing and stop the